ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
It is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday, a Victory Wednesday, as East Carolina opens the American Athletic Conference Tournament with a 9-4 win over the South Florida Bulls. They advance to the winner's bracket. They will take on Charlotte on Thursday in a winner's bracket game at approximately 4:30, 47 minutes following the 1 o'clock game that day for the winner's bracket on the other side. It was a late night last night in the Interbanks Media Studios as we had our live watch-along. Great interaction with all of our listeners. Philip Pilkington did a great job producing the broadcast on 94.3 The Game, which you heard with Dylan Johnson and Coach Joe and the Victorious Pirates as well. So it was a late night, but a lot of fun. Running a little bit on fumes. We are live today on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Glad we have a day to recover mentally as well as somewhat physically, Philip, because it'd be tough if the Pirates had to turn around and play this afternoon in an elimination game. But that, man, it is such a value to get a Game 1 win and some downtime. The real question is, will ECU allow any of its players to get any beach time? I tried to ask Cliff Godwin after the game. I don't think he liked my question.
I don't think he did either. Yeah, it would stink with the quick turnaround if you had to do it. The thing is, I will remind everybody, we were not the latest tournament to end last night, and I'm not just talking about tournaments that are played in other time zones, but no, the ACC was very far behind, and due to a lengthy first few innings, are already running behind today. So there were games in and after midnight, local time. We'll just put it that way. However, I don't envy South Florida at all with this quick turnaround. Now, I think they are the better team in their matchup with Wichita State. I'm still picking them. I think they will advance to Friday's contest against the loser of Charlotte and East Carolina. But, 4:45, 5 o'clock start after, those teams didn't get back probably to the hotel till close to 1 last night. That's a pretty quick turnaround. So, as whether our guys get beach time, if I might am advising Cliff Godwin, I'd say you didn't let them have beach time before, and they looked pretty damn good last night. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, baby. Stay off the beach, boys.
All hotel time for the Pirates is what Philip's calling for. By the way, Philip, you're going to get the opportunity to participate in a watch-along on Thursday. We are running it back. Right now, we know for sure Philip and I will be participating. We're going to have some pizza, and we're going to do a watch-along, 4:30, presented by Basil's. Philip Pilkington, will this be your actual debut?
Yeah, this is my watch-along debut. I always get stuck producing, so shout out to Isaac for producing tomorrow. He gets off at Chick-fil-A around 2, so we're putting him to work then. I may have to dip a little early. We got concert on the Commons. I got to go help with teardown for that. So I'm going to have to leave around 7:30. Now, if we get a 4:30 start, get a little under 3-hour game, I can stay till the end. But that's why we're hoping we can grab James or somebody so that you're not by yourself for the last inning or so.
We are hopeful that it is as fun and entertaining as Tuesday's game. We gave away a lot of free winners, and I'll try to get those free subscriptions out to all of you over the coming days. So reach out to me. I know I've got the list online, and then we'll compile more winners for Thursday. We'll be giving away free subscriptions. So stay tuned. 4:30-ish, again, on Thursday, we'll have a watch-along. Obviously, the show will go on tomorrow, 12 noon as well. So it'll be another long day. But, hey, it's conference tournament week, and this is why we do it. Championships are on the line across the country, and so is an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. So let's get into the game last night a little bit specifically, Philip. You couldn't have started any better. Corey Brown starts for South Florida, their ace. Ethan Norby starts for East Carolina, the Pirates' ace. And Norby was like Coastal Carolina Norby through the first 3 innings. 6 strikeouts. I believe he struck out the first 6 batters of the game he faced. And I wrote in my story, there was a lot of heroes, but I thought Braden Burst swinging at the first pitch from Braun and just lacing it into into the outfield for a hit. Like, it seems kind of innocent at the time, but I just thought it set the tone, and the Pirates just rolled after that. So it was good to see ECU jump on a really good pitcher. It's been a while since we've seen ECU do that to a good pitcher.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, we don't jump on him early, you're right, but it was almost like it was the second time through the order is how it felt. He faced exactly 9 batters. Was it Friday or Thursday? Friday. Okay, that's what I thought, yeah. And he walked one, I believe. We did get a base runner. I believe it was via the walk. But he retired 8 of 9. And sometimes the second time through the order, which theoretically, and I know it's a different game, different day, it felt like it was the second time through the order. They had seen all of his stuff. They were aggressive at the plate, and I think, dare I say, the decision to throw him Friday night and let the Pirate hitter see him one time may have been the difference in yesterday's baseball game. Whereas, look at Ethan Norby's first time through the order. They looked silly. Like you said, struck out the first 6, and then his second time through the order got a little shaky. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. So, there's something to be said about seeing a pitcher in the last 7 days, I think.
Pirates win the game 9-4. They bang out 15 hits. And again, Corey Braun gave up a season-high 7 runs. 5 of those were earned, 8 hits allowed. They pull him after 64 pitches and 3 innings, trying to probably save him for later in the week. And he wasn't very effective. So, offensive heroes, Braden Burris, man, 4 for 6. His home run, a long shot to deep left center. We haven't seen a ton of power from this year because he's such a good contact hitter. So that ball just kept going and going. Dixon Williams scored 2 runs, had a hit. John Collins tried to sack bunt, got down 0-2, then hit a fastball out to left center as well. He went 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs. Riley Johnson had the early double to drive in 2. He goes 2 for 5. Austin Irby, a 3-hit day, including a double. 8 of the 9 players in the starting lineup had a hit, Phillip. And Jack Herring, who went 0 for 6, I think he lined out twice, and he may have made the catch of the game. I believe this was right after Ethan Young got put in. Bases were loaded. It was within reach, and South Florida found a way to get some runners on. They hit a shot to the wall. We all thought off the bat it was a grand slam. And I guess the wind either was blowing in or not blowing out much, and Herring made a catch at the wall, win as a sac fly, but that was a big turning point. In ECU, you had Colby Wallace make a big turn for a double play at third, and then Dixon turned 2. So I thought the defense was phenomenal last night as well.
I thought it was. Herring was on his horse getting to that ball. That could have very easily been a bases-clearing double as well, had that gotten off the wall. But, man, I really love that play by Colby Wallace. He had to take 4 or 5 steps once he fielded the baseball in order to get to third. And normally, if you do a unassisted out at third, followed by a throw to first, you're either going with a guy who does not run well at all, which Betancourt runs okay. He's not one of their faster players, but he's not the slowest guy on the team by any means. And the fact that he started to make 4 or 5 more steps after that and to throw Betancourt out just shows the strength of Colby Wallace's arm. And, man, I just thought that was one of the phenomenal play because that was a situation, guys on first and second, 1 out, and you very easily could have gotten in a situation there where you found yourself in a close baseball game. And I thought the defense was really good last night. There was 1 hiccup maybe, I thought.
I know there was no errors, but
I thought there was one where it was like we didn't get the ball to first quick enough.
Braden Burris and Dixon kind of had a miscommunication.
Yeah, so really, and those are 2 guys who have only played a handful of innings there together as middle infielders. So that was the only real hiccup. So I thought the defense was good. And, Coach Godwin came on the show Monday and said that there were going to be changes made and they were going to be defensive-minded changes. Well, credit to you, CG. You say you're going to do it, and you back it up, and your 8 guys in the field backed it up for you.
A couple of takeaways from the postgame show, the postgame Zoom, I should say. Cliff Godwin did say that the message board folks can quit telling them what to do and maybe go work out. So that I thought that was a nice, fun way to close the night after I asked my beach question. Again, it was like almost midnight. I had to have some levity to the night. It was a long press conference. But the USF coach, I thought, made a great point, Mitch Hanna's. The USF's game, especially with their leading home run hitter out of the lineup, is predicated on speed. And when you get down 3-0, 5-0, 8-0, you cannot still. I mean, unless you're 100% sure. We saw an out on the base pass in the final inning that obviously proved to be costly for them, but that neutralized their running game, and they're one of the top stolen base teams in the league. So I thought that was a key as well. Get out to that early lead, and kind of neutralize that if you're ECU. Some comments here. Lane Smith says the tush push lives on. Obviously, this is non-related to ECU baseball, but that was voted. You said what, 22 votes to ban it, which was not enough?
Yeah, so you needed 3/4 of the votes. You needed 24. So obviously, they're at the NFL owners meetings right now. 32 teams show up, and only 22 voted against it. And there's rumor that Jason Kelsey was there during all this. I guess maybe I don't know if he was paying some people off, like how the politicians get paid off to vote certain ways or what was going on. But I guess Jason Kelsey was able to convince 9 other teams to vote in favor. Obviously, the Eagles didn't vote, so we know them. But not sure who the other 9 were, but it'd be interesting to see. And I don't know if he was buying them drinks or slipping something in their drinks or what it was.
We'll dive more into that, Lane, especially once we get into June and have some downtime. We'll have some NFL-specific shows along with some off-season topic shows. We'll get into the discussion about that. And to me, I'm disappointed it does not get banned, but I see both sides of it. Colin Murray says Charlotte running out Gillespie for 105 pitches seems like an interesting move on their part. Doesn't seem like they were thinking forward in this tourney. To which Johnny Robertson says, I believe that Charlotte made the decision to keep Gillespie in was to keep their bullpen fresh. The recovery time for 105 pitches is probably the same as it is for 70-plus pitches. And I agree on both those counts, Johnny. And then Colin adds, they were up 6-0 against a bad Wichita team. Figured they would have trusted their bullpen. I just think you can outthink yourself. We were having this conversation during the watch-along last night. People were like, should we pull Norby and throw whoever up 8-0? But you just got to let it ride. I mean, you just got to win the game at hand. And I understand what people are trying to do, but especially in college baseball, Phillip, it can get away from you quickly. Like, if USF gets a hit there in that 5th inning, it is a completely different game with the bases loaded. And if you start overthinking it, then you start maybe burning 5-6 arms as a result and not just, 2 or 3.
Yeah, so I watched the whole Charlotte game, and I was torn because I was thinking the same thing. But then also the way they were hitting the ball, it looked like a run rule was coming. And now when it comes to recovery time, 70 opposed to 105, at the major league level, for a starter, you're going to rest 4 days. College baseball, you're not actually used to 4 days rest. You're used to 6 days rest. I think when they came to this tournament, they had the mindset that Gillespie would start Tuesday, and if they make it to Sunday, he's going to start Sunday. I do think there's a better shot on 4 days rest for a guy who's not used to it, pitching off 70 pitches off 4 days rest than 105. However, again, at the time he was hitting that 70 mark, their offense was still hot. It looked like the run rule was going to come into play. They were going to try and save every single potential arm because Charlotte really does have one of the deeper staffs in this conference. I think that they are very confident in their ability to win this conference tournament without using Blake Gillespie again until Sunday, as long as they can stay ahead of the curve. I think they did a good job of doing that. I see both sides. Hindsight's 20/20. You don't get the run rule. He throws 105. How effective is he going to be able to be Sunday if you get to that opportunity to play on Sunday, especially if you go 3-0 and you're pretty healthy on the back end, or fresh, I should say, and not having to play a 4th or even a 5th game. But yeah, I see both sides. But look, I think Charlotte did what, at the end of the day, what they thought was best. I'm not going to question them. They've managed their staff really, really well this year.
Charlotte has won 10 in a row. They will play ECU on Thursday. We'll get more into the pitching matchups potentially when we talk next with Dylan Johnson, who's live from Clearwater, ECU play-by-play voice. He will join us on the other side. We'll talk about last night's game, get a live report from Clearwater. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors. Arr, matey! Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the colors on a Wednesday. Victory Wednesday. ECU wins their opening game of the American Athletic Conference Tournament in Clearwater, Florida, as they knock off the USF Bulls 9-4. Let's go out to Clearwater, get a live report. We've got Dylan Johnson joining us from Florida. Dylan, is the sun shining a little bit brighter following a victory?
Yeah, I think so. I think somehow Clearwater, Florida got a little bit more like paradise after a Pyro win. I think does wonders for everybody. Winning cures a lot of things.
There's no doubt. Look, it's been a tough season. Your first season on the call full-time as the play-by-play voice for ECU baseball, and there's been ups and downs, but do you get the sense that obviously going into yesterday, you wiped the slate clean, and certainly it seemed like the guys came out with energy. So, you know, being around the guys down there, how do you feel like they've kind of approached this from a mental perspective?
I think that they're approaching it really loose, and that's the way they're going. And I think that's the way we saw it play out last night in the win there. And maybe something about being officially entered in here as the 6th seed in Clearwater kind of gave the guys that perspective of, hey, you know, this is East Carolina, and the American has always run through Greenville, North Carolina, and maybe giving them that chip on their shoulder to come out there and kind of play that way. And the vibes around the team are really good right now. Winning last night helps with that, but even before that, I thought that the team was in a really good spot from what I've seen.
Offensively, Dylan, the Pirates, you know, going into last night, you know, Corey Braun on the mound for USF, I just naturally expected a lower scoring game, and of course ECU goes out and scores 3 in the first, and you know, every time we think we have sports somewhat figured out, things like this happen. Just what were your biggest takeaways from the offense last night, being aggressive against Corey Braun and really taking it to USF's best pitcher?
Yeah, it was really impressive to see. One of the better offensive performances we've seen. And really the biggest thing that jumped out to Coach O and I on the call last night there was just about every single time up to the plate, the Pirates were getting a quality at bat, which is, you don't always get the results. Not every guy is obviously going to come up and get a hit. But I think in the first 4 innings, maybe, especially, I could maybe count two, maybe one or two at bats that you wouldn't have counted quality at bats. Otherwise, it seemed like every single guy up there was either working Braun's pitch count up, obviously getting a hit, driving in a run, or moving a runner over in some kind of aspect or another. So, and getting out to that early lead was huge. Riley's double that put the first 2 runs on the board, and then you got Colby, a first-team all-conference guy, drops down a bunt to bring in the 3rd run, and I think that did a lot for this team there. And like you said, every time you think you got baseball figured out, and kind of talked with Coach O on the broadcast last night there about, there was obviously some conversation about between ECU didn't pitch Ethan Norby when these two teams just played last week, and South Florida did pitch Corey Braun, and he pitched really well against the Pirates. But hey, maybe something to be said there for the fact that ECU's offense had seen Braun and South Florida's offense hadn't seen Norby yet.
Definitely seemed to make a difference early. We're visiting with Dylan Johnson here, ECU baseball play-by-play voice. Ryan Benner in the chat says, we may have already touched on it, but Braden Burris, man, that kid is good, true gamer. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, 4 more hits last night, and I said this on our watch-along, Dylan. It's like it's almost a surprise at this point when he doesn't get a hit because he's that good. Just what's it been like watching him as a freshman and covering him this year and kind of trying to put that all into perspective?
Yeah, it's been something to behold, and it's hard to remember now the way that especially the second half of the season has gone for him. But to think back early on in the year where the way Cliff Godwin put it, where he was kind of pressing in the first few weeks of the season and wasn't really in the lineup that much, very hard to remember. That feels like forever ago now because the way he's played the last half of the season especially is just something really special to watch. Easy to forget that the guy is still a freshman. And honestly, watching him last night, you wondered how he was a second-team all-conference guy performing like that because it's at the point here, like you said, where you expect it. I mean, he comes out first pitch of the game, sets the tone, gets on base. Even when he's not getting hits, it seems like he always finds a way to get on. I feel like there's only one time this year that I could remember seeing him not get a hit through maybe 4 or 5 consecutive at-bats. Just feels like the guy is the definition of consistency this year. And then seeing him in the infield played really good last night too. We knew he was capable of it all year. He's been good in the outfield as well. So really gives you everything. Second most steals on the team besides behind Dixon Williams. So Braden Burris is just a certified dog, as they say.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's been incredible, and the Pirates would be hurt without him. I think Cliff Godwin said the line last night. This will probably be the only time there's ever 2 guys from Snow Hill, North Carolina, in the same press conference as we talked to both of them after the game, which I thought was a pretty good line. So pitching-wise, Dylan, last night, Ethan Norby, he was dominant early, and then Cliff said he kind of tightened up a little bit, fatigued in the middle innings. They got him out. You use Pruitt. He only throws 8 pitches. Obviously, he'll be available Thursday. Ethan Young, 62 pitches, 3 1/3. Also developing the blister or dealing with that, it sounds like. And then Jake Hunter threw 10 pitches over 1 1/3. So, based off that, most likely Norby and Young are down for Thursday, but everybody else available. I asked Coach after the game, how do you feel about the pitching? He wouldn't give me anything. How do you feel about the pitching, Dylan, going into Thursday with Wednesday's off day?
I feel like we're really well set up there. Like you said, Pruitt is practically fresh. It's if he didn't come in, and then Jake Hunter can go again if you need to. So add that with Lance Williams, Sean Jenkins, Brad Zayak, and several others there, and you're pretty good to go. And Coach O and I talked about it on the broadcast a lot too, where the depth of our pitching staff you would take absolutely hands down over anybody else in this league. And now once you get past that all-important day one win where pretty much every champion's done that, so you have to, and you took care of business there. And now from here where you're not going to face guys like Gillespie, Beard, or now you've even taken down Corey Braun, you're looking pretty good comparing ECU with everybody else. Now, Charlotte on Thursday there, and when we played them back in April, and they threw Andrew Cribbs in game 2 of that series, and he pitched well, but nothing that would blow you away, so you're not intimidated by anybody who you're going to face the rest of the way here. So, and not to mention with Sean Jenkins available to go, and perhaps his best game of the entire year was that finale at Charlotte, where he struck out something like 8 in 6 innings of relief, I believe it was. So you have to like where ECU is set up pitching-wise. If you can take a win tomorrow, then you're in a strong pole position to actually make this run and win Clearwater.
No doubt a critical game coming up on Thursday. It'll be around probably a 4:30-ish first pitch, 47 minutes following the 1 o'clock game. I was going to ask you about Charlotte, Dylan, because you obviously called the games in the Queen City earlier this year. Charlotte took 2-3. ECU, as you mentioned, won that Sunday game. I watched the Friday game in the Charlotte Knights Park. The thing that stood out to me about Charlotte was offensively they are physical. They can hit the ball out of the yard. A lot of home runs. What were your biggest takeaways of watching Charlotte in that series, and how do you think these two teams match up going into Thursday?
Again, I think, Charlotte, nothing about them really intimidates you there. I think the Friday game, going back to that series, that's the one I believe where Cliff had said if I was a Pirate fan and I had paid to see this, that I would have wanted my money back. I think that was that one. So just kind of a wash of a performance there. The Saturday game, just the 1-run loss, that was the tough break there where the Pirates had the chance in the 9th inning there, and then you just get the tough break where Chance Hall got doubled up on the line out to short, and then he just got caught there in between second and third. And then you come out Sunday and you score 12 runs, and Sean Jenkins absolutely dominated on the mound in that one. So going back to that, I think now that you're not seeing Blake Gillespie, he's really the only guy that you would face that would really scare you. Now I will say they've got Joseph Taylor and AJ Camp, their 2 top arms out of the bullpen. They didn't use against Wichita State, with Gillespie being able to cover the majority of the game there. So they do have some of their better bullpen arms, but ECU has shown that they can hang with them. They can really hang with anybody in the conference here, is depending on which Pirate team shows up for the day. So, in that game 2 loss, the 3-2 loss to Charlotte on that Saturday, on the road, you had really just a 3-run double. I think it was from Spencer Nolan, a guy who had maybe played a couple of games all year to that point, had only a handful of at-bats, and he gets a bases-clearing double in that game, and that ended up being the difference in the ball game there. So you take out something like that you really don't expect to happen, and really ECU comes away with a series win there. So really in all aspects, outside of Blake Gillespie, you take the hitting, fielding, base running from Charlotte. There's nothing that scares you. There's nothing that I would take over ECU in any aspect of the game.
Pirates and 49ers, all important winners bracket game. That'll be again Thursday, 4:30-ish, depending on what the first game of the day does. All right, so I also asked Cliff Godwin last night, Dylan, if the guys will get any beach time with Wednesday's off day. I doubt you have clarification on that. The people want to know, will Dylan Johnson get any beach time on this off Wednesday?
Well, I don't know if anybody's picked up on this. Dylan Johnson is a very pale individual, so the beach is not always friendly to me. So that's yet to be determined. That's a TBA on if Dylan Johnson gets any beach time or not. I'll certainly be spending my fair share of time outside, though. I don't mind walking around. That this is my first time being out in Clearwater now, so kind of overwhelming with there's 1,002 different things to do, especially around the area where the Pirates stay. So I can be certainly occupied here without needing to go to the beach.
And I heard he may have been hanging out with Scott Rogers and Corey Glore. We had a guest appearance from Corey earlier this week. So what's it like hanging out with those legends?
You just got to be in awe of those guys. Scott and Corey, and they've got their fair share of stories over the years, Clearwater memories to go back on, and it's just really entertaining to hear those. And I wish people were able to hear some of those that don't make the radio show, but can certainly make the Monday night dinner down here in Clearwater. But honestly, two of the best guys you could know, and Corey's still doing this at a very high level, and Scooter was a fan favorite when he was here. So 2 guys I'm happy to be around any chance I get.
All right, a couple more things before you deal. We'll let you go. We'll let you go get sunburnt somewhere. Coach O obviously gets tied with Cliff Godwin last night with the win total, and Cliff is one win away from passing Coach O for most wins all time as an ECU baseball head coach. You know, you're on the call with him, and I know I've talked to Coach about it. He's very proud of Cliff, a player he recruited, kind of doing this. Like, what's it been like being on the call with him, and as Cliff nears, obviously ties the record and gets ready to pass it?
It's really special to be able to be sitting next to the guy that Cliff Godwin will pass at some point. And it's you kind of are aware of the historic moment that you're in, which isn't something that always, we get the benefit of. It's kind of usually looking back in hindsight and realizing how kind of cool or unique, special a moment was. But being able to be on the call with Coach O, I'm in the moment, able to kind of feel, he's talking about the guy who's going to pass him, who he recruited to come to East Carolina originally. And Coach O he's been looking forward to it for a while. I mean, he's told you the same thing. He's told me several times that he wants it to happen. He can't wait for it to happen. He couldn't be more proud of Cliff. And, I've been rooting for all along. And so now down in Clearwater, really glad that it was able to, happen last night and in the next Pirate win here, hopefully able to happen again, is being able to see Coach O talk to Cliff and be the first person more or less to kind of speak to him right after the game, and them to get to share that moment together there. So that's certainly something I've been rooting for. Last night was really cool to get to hear Coach O and Cliff talk about it right after the game, and looking forward to seeing it again.
Hopefully that happens Thursday. Last thing for you, Dylan. Give me a pick to click for the Pirates. Who needs to have a big game Thursday? Who will have a big game when the Pirates win Thursday? We'll just say that. Who's your pick to click? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Put me on the spot. Like, I think we're really going to see Sean Jenkins on the mound, okay? And I think that I pick him to have a repeat performance the way he pitched against Charlotte last time. And he was really juiced up in that one, too. I know there was a little bit of chirping going on, really more so in the fans, in the stands there between both fan bases more than anything. But Sean was really jacked up when he was carving the Charlotte lineup that time on that Sunday back in April. So that is my pick again. You heard it here. Sean Jenkins will do it again.
And he was throwing so hard that day, he lost his hat about 4 times.
Yeah, that was 96, 97. That was, as Igo puts it, that's the fall Sean Jenkins. That was in his form.
No doubt. Well, hopefully we see that again on Thursday, whether it's starter or reliever form from Sean Jenkins. Definitely a good chance he pitches in that contest. Well, Dylan, we'll let you get to the beach, man. I appreciate you taking some time, 15 minutes out of your day. But I appreciate it, man, and best of luck on your call Thursday. Enjoy Wednesday.
Thanks, Igo. We'll see everybody tomorrow night.
He is Dylan Johnson, play-by-play voice for East Carolina baseball. You can hear him 94.3 The Game on Thursday when the Pirates take on the 49ers. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. Philip and I will share our thoughts on ECU's potential pitching plans for Thursday. We'll also get into more of your comments, look around college baseball as a whole with conference tournaments going on. And ECU football is a significant underdog to NC State in the season opener. We'll break that down as well. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors, with locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
The Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.3, The Game.
And Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday. We just talked with Dylan Johnson, ECU baseball play-by-play voice. He will be on the call as the Pirates take on Charlotte Thursday afternoon. Again, we'll have another watch-along. Tune in, 94.3 Facebook and YouTube pages, also streamed on the Hoist the Colors X page for free subscriptions. Also, just a fun time, as we'll have a good time. Philip Pilkington will join us. We've got about 3 maybes on the table as well from the crew. We had James Gilio, Brady Thomas in last night, and we've got a few other guys who are maybes, and Bobby Harwood as well is a maybe for the watch along. All right, big discussion at this point is, who does ECU throw on Thursday? I guess the bigger point of that is, who does ECU start on Thursday? Because I feel pretty good about a handful of guys out of the bullpen, as we've discussed. A Brad Pruitt, who only threw 8 pitches. I know he wasn't sharp, but he's a guy you can go back to. A Jake Hunter only threw 10 pitches. He's a guy who can start. Lance Williams pitched really effectively against South Florida. Bradley Zayak's been good lately. Sean Jenkins has been good, although he's been better as a reliever versus a starter of late. He pitched really good in a relief role against Charlotte. So it's not like you don't have options, and I feel okay about the pitching in general. I just don't know, who to start. There's no clear answer here, I feel like. I mean, I think you can make the argument for 4 or 5 different guys, Philip.
I'm going to go Jake. The moment's not going to get to him. That's first and foremost. He's not going to go out there and, not have a clue, wet himself kind of thing.
This is your biggest game of the year.
Yeah, it's your biggest game of the year. The other thing is, the tough thing about Jake is he can let up bombs, because when he misses over the white. The good thing about Jake is they're going to have to beat him because, again, he misses over the white. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He's not going to give up the free 90s. And now Charlotte can beat you, but at least they're going to be forced to. And I feel like with everybody else, when they're off, Jenkins – maybe not as much. He can have where he gets barreled up a few times. But, Pruitt, man, if it's all a command thing with him. And by the second or third batter, whether he's got command or he doesn't. And when he doesn't have command, it's going to be free 90, free 90, free 90. And, Lance, kind of the same thing, maybe not to the level, but also, the extreme level, extreme good, extreme bad. But again, is he ready for this moment to go be handed the ball right off the jump? Yeah, you don't know. So I'm going to go Jake just by default. I know he pitched the other night. I know you wouldn't be able to get maybe as much out of him as you want to, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you run out there. They're not going to throw 6 innings. You just need, if you could go like 4-4-1, I feel like you'd feel good. You know, maybe the guys you go 4-4 with are not hot Friday, but if you get a successful 4-4 and then 1, hopefully you're not playing Friday. So, I don't know.
No easy answer, although I do like Jake Hunter. You know what you're going to get. He's going to throw strikes, more than likely, and he may give up some hits, but as you said, not going to be scared at the moment. And then in a relief role, you're taking some of the pressure off of Jenkins, Williams, whoever you choose to bring in out of the bullpen. So the Pruitt, who started against Charlotte in that Saturday game earlier this season, 4 1/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. So he was okay that day, not great. Ethan Young was great, 3 2/3, 6 strikeouts of scoreless ball, but he will probably be on the shelf. How much is the blister concerning us at this point? For me, I think it's a massive concern over the entirety of the tournament going forward, because a blister is not, I'm not a doctor, but a blister typically with baseball is not something that heals in a couple of days. These are usually lingering things that take a week or two to resolve, and I don't know the extent of what or how serious it is, but Cliff Godwin made it sound like he just ripped the blister off. I don't know if Ethan did that voluntarily. I don't know if that helps the situation. Maybe we need a doctor on the show. But that's your most valuable pitcher, arguably, outside of Ethan Norby. So that's a concern. And then it sounds like Norby's not quite 100% either. So 2 of your top arms, it sounds like, could be dealing with some issues going into the weekend when you would want to bring them back. The good news is, pitch count-wise, you could bring them back Saturday if you get to that point, Phillip. But there's definitely some uncertainty there.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Let's start with Young. The way Coach Godwin mentioned it the other night, it sounded like the blister was already there and it reopened. You know, this day and time with modern medicine, they do have that sealant stuff they can put on blisters. Not saying that if we were playing today, he'd be out there pitching, not saying he's going to pitch Thursday. But if he can rest it, put some of that sealant on there, last night, continue to do that each day, I think it's still going to be there Saturday, but it's going to be one of those where he would have to reopen it. I think he would be available. Like I said, I don't know how bad the blister is. I'm no doctor. I didn't pitch a lot in my life. I was more of a first baseman, so you didn't really care what happened to you over there as long as you hit the face of the ball. But at the end of the day, I would guess he's going to be available as long as he can get the correct treatment. I'm sure they're going to treat him well. But again, then you worry. I think the worry is not, is he available Saturday? It's after one pitch, is he then become unavailable Saturday? That becomes the issue. And as long as it doesn't reopen, you're good. The tough thing about being a pitcher is you can't put tape on your fingers,
Right.
This was a quarterback, maybe. Even it's a different situation. You can tape up the fingers. You can do certain things. Whereas a pitcher, there's certain rules. So that's kind of the thing that worries me there.
Jonathan in the chat, kind of going off that, says there are products that you can put over blisters like new skin, although I'm not sure if products like that are legal for the game. It's been a while since I played. So, yeah, I mean, they'll exhaust all those options. I am with you in that. Look, man, it's your season's on the line. It's a blister. Now, it will likely affect how he pitches, but, Ethan Young is not going to be like, man, I can't pitch because I have a blister. He's going to try. It seemed like he was trying to last night, and I guess eventually they just made the decision to pull him because he didn't look comfortable. And even before he motioned to the blister, he was not – you could tell he was not as effective as normal throwing his breaking ball, which obviously you're applying more pressure to that area of your fingers, trying to spin the baseball. So something to monitor. I don't think you'll see him Thursday, most likely, obviously with the pitch count and the blister, but Saturday I think is possible. We'll see about Friday if ECU loses. Will says, is Jaden Winter injured or has the staff just move on? As far as I know, he's healthy. I think it's just a case where right now they're going with other guys. He has been in uniform. And I did want to say, any thoughts on the Norby situation too, because we didn't get to him. But it sounds like more of a fatigue thing because of the workload and something he's dealt with kind of the latter half of the season.
Yeah, so when they pulled him, obviously Dylan, Coach O, and I talked. the amount of pitches he threw technically would be available Saturday, but Coach O thinks the mindset is to keep him till Sunday. Now, the big thing with Sunday, if it is a fatigue thing, it's not him not giving you a good outing. It's him not giving you enough when it looks like the back end is going to be depleted because of how the wacky our conference tournament is. That's my worry with him. I think he can go out there and give you 3 or 4 really good innings, but are you going to be totally out of arms and it's like, hey, Ethan, we need 7? I just don't know if he's going to be able to give you that. But I think knowing Ethan Norby, he will still be effective at the beginning of games or at the beginning of his outing if he doesn't start. So getting 2 or 3 out of him, he should be good Sunday. But, hey, we got a long way to go between now and then.
No doubt. Mike Ward adding, I was a pitcher in college. It's more about feel for pitches than availability in terms of the blister. So I definitely agree with that. It feels like Young will probably try to go as this week goes on, but it's worth monitoring how effective he will be. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll touch on ECU being a 14-point dog to the NC State Wolfpack in football in the season opener after just beating them, and also conference tournaments across the country. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Time to play the game. Triple H. Man, that's a throwback. That was such a great era of wrestling. We're back on Hoist the Colors. Wednesday, May 21st. Final segment here on 94.3 The Game. Philip Pilkington producing. We had Dylan Johnson on earlier, play-by-play voice for ECU baseball. All right, so the lines are out for week 1. We'll touch on this briefly. We may go deeper into it tomorrow or probably Friday. ECU is opened as a 14-point dog to NC State. The line is now 13.5. I expected like somewhere in the 8 to 10 range. 14 seems steep. Now, I do want to say Vegas sets the lines. We've talked about this, Philip, but Vegas sets the lines. What is going to create the most, 50-50 split on the bet? I mean, they're trying to make money. And so they're not necessarily saying that NC State is 2 touchdowns better than ECU, but they're saying this is what people are going to bet the most on. So on both sides. So any takeaways from that line?
Yeah, what's going to happen if you put it at 9 or 8 or 9? Then the people who are not from this area, don't know the teams, don't know drivers, are going to hear Power 5 team hosting a Group of 5 team on a Thursday night prime time. It's only 8. Let me hammer State. And then if State goes out there and, you put it at 9.5 and they win by 10, 27-17 is probably not a unrealistic final score. Vegas just, had to fire a few employees or lay a few people off. So I think that's what it is. My guess is once we get closer to game time, because enough of, especially ECU fans are going to go out there and hammer ECU, I think this is going to probably get down in the 10.5, 11 range, which is probably about right. There's a lot of things to sort out, though, between now and then. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm with you, though. I still think it's a smidge high. I thought, realistically, like you said, 8.5, 9, theoretically based off, again, them trying to win money or, always, I thought it was going to be 11.5 or 12. So I thought 2 touchdowns is a little much, but hopefully everybody hammers the Pirates and the Pirates cover, and then we can, give Vegas the old your number 1.
And I think it's the best case scenario for ECU. You just beat NC State. Now you're going to be looked at as a big underdog again. I posted this on Instagram. Raheem Craig, he posted 8 laughing emojis in the comment section. So, this is stuff the players see and they can use as a rallying cry. So, I think this is best case scenario. We'll get more into that as we talk football later this weekend into June. All right, conference tournament action. I guess the California Golden Bears just need to start every game at 6 a.m. local time. They're once again putting up a fight. They won yesterday comfortably, and now they're leading Wake Forest 14-8 in the top of the 9th. And as you mentioned, this is a very long baseball game going on 4 hours. But I guess when you're Cal, you're 9-21 in the ACC. You come across the country to Durham, North Carolina to play a conference tournament. I guess they're finding their mojo for some reason.
They are, and they're doing it early in games, man. They jumped on Miami early yesterday. They jumped on Wake today. Wake was already on their 3rd pitcher in the bottom of the 4th inning. So I think sometimes when you're playing with house money, you got nothing to lose. That's probably a little bit more of it than the early start. But I know I'm with you. It's like, man, schedule them all for 6 a.m. I think Parker texted yesterday and said, yeah, cage time was about 4:30 a.m. for them yesterday morning. So I'm sure, I haven't looked at their schedule. I'm guessing they were on the East Coast last week. I'm sure they did not finish with a home series this past weekend. But, hey, man, there's always some 16 that makes a run, or, some low seed that makes a run, whether it be basketball or baseball. And we saw Oregon State a few years ago win the Pac-12 in basketball, and they had actually were seated below the first 4 in, proving that they would have not gotten an at-large bid despite being in what was a decent Pac-12 that year. So there's always one team in one of these major conferences that makes a run, and I guess it's the Golden Bears.
Cal played Boston College in Berkeley, California this past week. And then
wow,
had to
so
fly.
they made all those teams fly. That's stupid. I mean, you can't fix stupid, but, I mean, how dumb is the ACC?
That's just college sports now. It's very frustrating.
Just make them play in Chestnut Hill, though.
I agree. It would seem to make sense, but who knows, man. We got a full slate. Man, if you go to d1baseball.com, which has a great scoreboard page, the best way to follow, it's got live stats, links to every single game. I mean, it is just a massive slate of baseball games on this Wednesday. So
yeah, yesterday was not as full as I thought it was, but today is
this is
time.
Prime territory.
This is a Big 12 start today, too.
Yeah, and honestly, this is like when ECU is doing well in college baseball, I'm more invested in what's going on with the national picture. So now, with ECU winning, I will probably watch some college baseball today, monitor it. If they win Thursday, I'll be fully invested come Friday.
Yeah.
And you have a day off to sit back and enjoy that as far as not following ECU baseball. Rice, FAU, the Battle of the Owls in the losers bracket for the American, and then you have South Florida, Wichita State Any thoughts here on who wins?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Or does it not really matter?
It matters because it matters how much they can push the other teams and hinder other teams who might make it Sunday. FAU is the better team. I picked them yesterday because of Beard, and I was wrong, but I still think overall they're a better team than Rice. Rice has found a new spark since firing their coach, so, I mean, I don't think they're as bad as they once were, but still I like them. As far as the other game, look, South Florida's a better team. They're disappointed in the way they played last night. They know they're a better team than how they played last night. Wichita State, I will give them, man. They fought hard yesterday to the very end, so they're not going to roll over. They play with passion. They play with heart. We saw it yesterday and give up, but I just think that South Florida's a better team. They're going to come in a little ticked off, whereas I think Wichita's going to kind of come in and like, here we go again mindset.
And then you'll have the winners bracket games on Thursday. It'll be Tulane, UTSA, the two-time defending tournament champion Tulane against the regular season champion UTSA. And then in the late game, you will have the Pirates taking on the Charlotte 49ers. And it'll be a watch-along. Second straight watch-along for ECU baseball in Clearwater, as we will have that for you. So stay tuned Thursday for the watch-along. We're out of time on this show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks to Dylan Johnson for joining us live from Clearwater. Appreciate Philip Pilkington for going late into the night last night and then coming back producing today. Tomorrow on the show, we'll obviously talk ECU baseball. We'll also hit on the Greenville Yard Gnomes. We'll have General Manager John McCormick in studio. They've got a handful of Pirates set to be on their roster this summer. We'll discuss that, a whole lot more, and preview the Pirates conference tournament action as well. We'll see you then 12 noon on Thursday.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Get a recap of this show at 94.3